Hello and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates. Thank you for joining me today and welcome to Project 23. Can you believe we are here already? So today's project is a easel card which is turned into a desk calendar. So literally you pick this end up, it stands upright, you could stand it at your desk, you've got your calendar information here and you've got this little detail here which helps to keep it stand up straight. It will look like that roughly. So we used to keep these by our telephones so we could check dates whenever anybody called, but of course mobile phones were invented, so now it's an ideal thing to have by your desk when you're working if you wanted to check dates. So an ideal gift or a tree present or a table present for Christmas. So let's bring in the supplies. So what have I got? I have a piece of Misty Moonlight. This measures 4 1/4 by 11 inches. We'll score that in a moment. I then have a piece of still Misty Moonlight. This measures 4 by 5 1/4. I then have a next layer, which is the Peaceful Garden Glimmer. This is the cloud cover. Don't worry about the hole in the middle. You'll see that in a second. And this measures 3 3/4 by 5. And then I have a piece of designer series paper, which will cover that hole. And that is 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. So the hole that we have just, I don't like to waste glimmer paper. So that comes out of there. So I've taken that out. That's going to be used as the stopping block. But of course, you can now see that that's got a piece missing, which is where I have moved the dove from. So I've used all available space. I've also got a white dove. I have decided to use, 2 of the little white envelopes. There we go. And then I have a Misty Moonlight second layer, which will go over here and will cover our dove piece missing. Right, so let's pop these aside. There is no stamping today, so that makes life a little easier. We can go straight into the scoring. So let's bring in my scoreboard, she says. Here we go, this one will do. So I'm going to score it on the long side. We're going to score it at 2 3/4, which is there. And then we're going to score it at 5 1/2. And that is it. Okay. Put that down. We now can burnish those folds. So the 5 1/2 is the one that scores it in half. And then we have this bit and that goes here. Now, of course, as I said, you could use this as a card. It's an easel card, but you would put a layer down here that people could write on. So let's layer up my designer series paper. So I'm going to add glue, multi-purpose glue, to the glimmer paper. Okay, and that will stick onto there quite nicely. If you're worried about it, just give it a little burnish with your bone folder and that will help to reinforce the stickiness down. Okay, so the next thing to do would be to add our designer series paper. Again, that is going to go over the top like that. So I'm going to add my glue just around the edges. And that will go over the top like so. Again, I'm just going to go around it, making sure it has firmly stuck down to the glitter paper or the glimmer paper. It just needs a little bit more pressure because it's a kind of different kind of surface. Okay, so when you've done that, we can now add it to our base card. So with the base card in portrait and the bendy section here, you're going to put glue on this section, but not around the edges. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're just going to make yourself a largest box, but missing the edges. Okay, because what will happen now is we will lay this down on top, she says, gently down, like so. There we go. And just hold it for a couple of moments. And then you've got your bend fold. Okay, perfect. So what we need to do now is we need to put the gate across here so that it stays in place. So this is all about dimensionals. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to stick this down on the top. Again, just around the edges. And so that it sticks permanently. Let's put that, move that side over there. And we can just hold that down and stick it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add dimensionals to the back. So I'm going to be quite liberal with my dimensionals. Just because I don't want it to move. I'm actually going to put one in the middle as well. Look at that. I don't know quite why I was working around the outside of the cutout. There we go. Oh, come on. Oh, nearly got them all. There. Okay, this one does not want to depart. Right, so what I'm going to do now, oh, it's got a bit of glue there. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to base that down roughly there. A slight larger gap here than there is on the sides. And then I'm just going to force it down because that will then sit there like so. Right, what I want to do is bring in my dies so I can show you what I'm doing. So I have used the large and the small of the frames, which has created the glimmer paper and the Misty Moonlight. Okay, I am using the dies, which have created my envelopes, and I have got two doves, which I have used. So this one is this one. It creates all this beautiful. Now, unfortunately, you can't see it when there's a bit of glimmer paper, but it's got these wonderful cutouts here. Look at that. Moved them out perfectly. The beautiful feather-like version. And then you've got the same with the white. Right. Okay. There are my dies. And obviously, I've got myself a calendar. Now, this one came from my local shop. And as you can see, it cost me 40p. So, not that expensive. Perfect. Right. So, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add that to my front of my card. I'm going to work out where it is, roughly around the bottom, down here, like so. I'm going to attach that with my stamp and seal. I'm just going to give it 3 strips. I'm going to work out roughly where it's going to go. So I'm thinking probably about there. I've got my lovely dove, which could, straighten it, can go here. I was thinking it would go on here, but I didn't want to cover up my, if I do it there, there we go. I'm going to erase that one, again with dimensionals. Yep. Perfect. And that will flip to there. And a tiny bit of glue on my envelope, just down the bottom. Come on. Oh, my glue's stuck again. Problem is I don't want to squeeze it too hard and for then all the glue to come rushing out, because that would defeat, there we go, the object. And then I'm just going to pick it up very carefully. Oh, look, I stuck to my finger, so that's fine. And I'm just going to pop it to there. Okay, so that's my little doves. So now I need to add them to here. So I managed to put glue on that one. So maybe I was going to, hey, look at that. I'll put that one there. Again, I'm going to put that one on dimensionals. So one on each wing and one on the body. Take those off. There we are. Make sure he doesn't go too far over the edge because I don't want him poking through. So let's do him. That's better there. And then I can just add my little envelope again. There. Perfect. Oops. She says dropping it. Dropped it off camera, so apologies. Okay, and then the envelope will go there. Right, and that is our easel card stroke desk calendar. I hope you like those. They were great fun to make. As you can see, they're quite quick and easy, and I think quite effective, and I think people will use them. So thank you ever so much for joining me today. We'll be back again tomorrow, so do join me then. Take care. Bye.